Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Hello, everybody. Hopefully our video is going to be working today because we got stuff to show you guys today too. And if it's not working, well, I guess we'll just cry together. So hopefully we will see what happens here on this here Wednesday, June 1st. Can you believe it's June already, by the way? I'm just talking to myself right now. No one's on yet. He was talking with himself. He was talking, hey, yo, Joe. How you doing today? Hopefully good. Hopefully the audio is working and the video is working. That was massive issues last week. I don't know what it was, but everything else was running fine on my side. So maybe it was the broadcasting system that I use to have it so we can broadcast both on Facebook and YouTube. And I think they might have just been having some visual technical difficulties last week. I saw that. I went to like your video, and then I realized I was not signed into YouTube because I was on my computer. Or no, I was on my phone. No, I was on my iPad. And I tried to like it, and it wouldn't let me because I wasn't signed in because it's automatically signed into my Facebook or into my computer, my phone. Hola. Hello. How's everyone doing? I'm not frozen. I'm not Elsa. I'm not Anna. I'm not Olaf. I'm not Sven. I'm not Christoph. I'm not Hans. I'm not frozen. That is correct. I'm not frozen today. So today we're going to be talking all about Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, there's a few people I know who are going to be watching this, and they're worried because we're going to be doing spoilers. We're going to have it so we're going to break up the spoilers. So we're not going to talk about everything on the ride immediately. We're going to give you guys a chance if you want to. You can hear about the ride later on in the show. First, we're going to kind of talk about the history of Wonders of Life. Every now and then, I'll get like really bad allergies with my nose just gets stuffed up. And today, I was walking through the park and I smelled the flower. This is a true story. Smelled the flower over during the Flower and Garden Festival. I smelled it, and then I had the worst sneezing fit ever. So... so since then, my nose has been like somewhat clogged, but not totally clogged. Guardians. Well, you know your favorite cast member is Ben. Thank you, Ben. Ben was there for my 8th ride. I've now been on 9 times as of today. We're going to talk about the virtual queue too. So we'll kind of go through, and we're going to go through and talk about some spoilers, but I'll give spoiler notifications. Like I will say, okay, now we're going to be talking about portions of the ride. So I don't want to have it so we go through. Is it opening day in Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind last May? The opening day was this past Friday on May 27th, 2022. Did you get every song? I've not gotten every song yet. I'm still missing Conga right now. Okay, let's get this part started because you guys are already going through all of your questions right now. So keep on throwing those questions in the chat room. We're going to get this started, and we're going to start going right into your questions as soon as we finish our intro. So let's start the 667th episode of the Wednesday show in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 667th episode of the Wednesday show. Today is June 1st, 2022, and I'm your host, as always, Brent Dodge. Hello. Today, we're going to be talking all about Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which opened up this past Friday. But, of course, before we get to that, let's talk about our news for the week. As always, thank you everyone who's been joining us every single day for my daily Disney YouTube videos. Make sure that you don't forget to like and subscribe to every single video, including the video that you're watching right now. If you are watching on Facebook, give it a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a like. Every like does make a tremendous effort towards us growing these pages. So thank you everyone out there who has been checking out every single one of those videos. We are nearing extremely close to our 450,000th view of all time on YouTube. And that means that 500,000, 500,000 views is just right around the corner. So keep on watching, keep on liking, keep on sharing, keep on commenting. Every single view, every single comment, every single share helps out tremendously. And of course, if you have not been joining us for our Saturday in the park, if you don't already know, every single Saturday right here on this channel, we do a live broadcast from someplace found throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. You never know where we're going to be. However, this Saturday, once again, we're going to be trying to get over on Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind because I want to do a broadcast from that attraction for you guys. So make sure you join us this Saturday around 1 o'clock Eastern Time. If it is different based on a boarding group, I will let you know. However, we're going to talk about the boarding group thing in a little bit here too, because there is a possibility that maybe we won't be able to get on. I did get a boarding group last Saturday, but it didn't happen until I had to go to work. So, and of course, as always, tonight's show is sponsored by It's All About the Mouse Travel. Ooh. Make sure you stop by. It's all about the wait. Make sure you stop by. It's all. Can we do like a bouncing ball? We've never done that before. Here, bouncing chip. Make sure you stop by. It's all about the mousetravel.com for all of your Disney travel needs. All of their services are absolutely positively 100% free. So make sure you book with them for all of your Disney travel needs. That name again is It's All About the Mouse Travel. Oh, it's going to be a good episode. I can tell. Okay. So if you guys didn't already know, this past Friday, we did open up over at Walt Disney World the brand new Guardians of the Galaxy attraction called Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Now, what we're going to be talking about tonight is we're going to be talking about anything and everything about this attraction. We're going to talk about the history of the attraction. We're going to talk about a walkthrough of the queue line. We're going to talk about the pre-show, and we're going to talk about the ride itself. And of course, we're going to go to any and all questions that you guys have out there as well. As I've already answered, I have been on the attraction 9 times already, so I kind of have a pretty good grasp of most of the details, but I know for a fact that there's still a lot of details out there that I'm completely missing, so I might as well just keep on going on and on and on and on and on again because there's so much to discover. So while we go through, we're going to answer as many questions out there as possible, so throw those questions into the chat room. Our first question is, did you get every song? Let's talk about the music before we talk about the history, because we've got some cool little behind-the-scenes stories about the music as well. So there are currently 6 different songs that you can, well, not currently. Well, you know what? I'm going to go on a limb here and say at some point they may add a different song. I could be 100% wrong, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that is a possibility. I could see it happening. So right now there are 6 different songs. There is Everybody Wants to Rule the that was the song that I had today. That was the second time I've had that song. Last time I was on the attraction, I also had that song. So I've had it twice, both my 8th and 9th time was that song. My first time ever on it, I had September. I've had September 2 times. So that brings us up to 4 of the 9 attractions. I've had Disco Inferno 3 times. That brings us up to 7. And I ran so far away. I've had that 1 time. And then my other time, I also had One Way or Another. I'm going to find you. I'm going to get you one way. Okay, so music does play a very, very important role in the entire Guardians of the Galaxy universe. So if you've ever watched Guardians of the Galaxy or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, you probably know that there are several different classic songs from the 1970s and 1980s that Star-Lord is playing throughout the films. They decided that they're going to have that same important factor in this attraction as well. Now, side note, before we get into that more, if you've ever gone over to Disney's California Adventure and ridden Guardians of the Galaxy over there, Mission Breakout, amazing attraction, by the way. On that attraction as well, there are, I believe it's 6 different songs as well that you can have that actually play a different role in the storyline. This one, it doesn't really affect the story as much. There are a few different sayings depending on the attraction that you go on. For instance, there's one where Drax responds to a comment. We're going to get into those comments later on. Someone says something and Drax says something for one of the songs and he says something completely different for the other songs. So if that helps out a little bit, or make sense at all, we're going to get into it more as we continue to the show here. But to answer your question, Joe, I'm missing conga. So I do have 5 of the 6 songs, but I don't have all the songs. Now, the behind the scenes story that I think is really cool. So in order to actually figure this out, they literally had it so the Imagineers went on this attraction hundreds of times, which is a really cool job to have. But they went on literally hundreds of times, and each time they would go on, they would have different music. And then they would like grade the song. Okay, is this song going to be good enough? Is this song going to be good enough? Blah, 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 blah. I had my first opportunity to go on this attraction with a cast member. Long story, but I got a lot of previews because of cast members. And the first time I went on it, I had September, like I said earlier, and I thought it was mind-blowing. I was like, this is so cool. And I ran into a guy that I did my college program with, and he is currently a cast member. And I ran into him like the next day, and I was like, have you been on Guardians yet? It was so cool. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I gotta go on the preview the very first day. And I was like, what song did you get? And he goes, I got Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. What? So up until about 3 days before the official cast previews began, they started having so different leaders at Epcot could go test out the brand new attraction. And during those previews, they had 7 songs that were still available at that time. They had September, Conga, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, I Ran So Far Away. It's impossible to say that without saying, I ran so far away. And what are the other 2 songs? Disco Inferno and One Way or Another. And they also had Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 as a possible one. They cut it literally that day. So he actually had a chance to go on this attraction while Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 was still playing, which is a bummer. However, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 still lives at the attraction, along with literally like tens, I don't want to say hundreds, but tens of other songs. So a lot of the songs that did not get selected to be part of the attraction actually ended up making it into the exit area. So while you are exiting the attraction, this is not giving anything away, but while you're exiting the attraction, they had different music playing. All the different music is all the songs that they almost made it into the attraction, but didn't make it into the attraction. So if you go through that area and you kind of just hang out there, it is literally a 4-hour music loop. It is the longest music loop in Walt Disney World history, but you can go through there and you can listen to 4 hours worth of songs, and they're all classic hits from the 1970s and 1980s. Whew. That was a long answer to a simple question. Let's continue here. Let's keep on going through your questions because you guys have questions here. We'll get to the non-Guardians questions later on. Right now, we're just going to focus solely on the Guardians questions, but not yet. How fast does Guardians go? I don't know the exact miles per hour. It is the if I had to put it in an idea of, I would say it's someplace between Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and Rock and Roller Coaster. It's kind of in the middle there. It's I don't know the miles per hour. To me, there's not any big drops. I talked to someone today. Well, when I was leaving today, I was talking to the family that was sitting with me, because how they do the seating is it's kind of like how they do it for Slinky Dog Dash, and they also do it for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. When you get to that merge point, they say how many in your party. If you're an odd number, so today I was a party of 1, they'll put you in a line for all the odd people. I'm very odd. And then if you're in an even party, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, they'll put you in a different line. And then they kind of, so if you're in an odd party, you're going to be put in with another odd party. So I sat with the family while exiting. We were talking, and the kid was like, "Oh, that dip was so big," and I was like, "What dip?" And the parents were like, "We didn't notice a dip." So maybe it was just the kid who was on a different attraction than we were on. I don't know. Okay, so let's start going through the history here. I've heard that people have been getting motion sick after riding it. They are giving out puke bags. Truth, I have not seen any puke bags being given out. So I don't know who's been getting puke bags. I've had a few people who've written to me and they're like, oh, they're like, I heard that they're getting the same thing. I heard that they're giving, bags to throw up. And I have not seen, I've been on the ride 9 times. Not once have I ever seen a puke bag anywhere. I've never seen them hand them out. I've never seen a spot where it says, hey, if you want to throw up, here you go. So yeah, I think it's a lie. Unless I'm just completely missing it every single time I get on the attraction. Maybe it's inside the little where you can put your belongings, your loose items, but I don't put my loose items in there at all. I have my backpack with me, so I just put my backpack on my feet and have my loose items in there. So I've not personally seen it. Maybe it's in there, but I don't think it is. A protein spill. That is correct, Matt. Or the Code V is what they call it now. All right, let's talk a little bit about the history of Guardians of the Galaxy, the attraction slash. Let me get to my notes here. So I think it was 2017. 2017 at the D23 Expo. That was the first D23 Expo I ever missed, was the 2017 one. I was in a car with 2 of my friends. We were heading to Tampa to go to Portillo's, one of my favorite restaurants from Chicago. And we were driving over there and we were listening to the D23 Expo. Matt, who's in the chat room right now, everyone say, hi, Matt. Matt was actually sending me pictures from the park attraction panel. Matt, do you remember this? This was 5 years ago. That's kind of crazy. It's been that long. Matt was there along with my friend Lonnie, and they were sending me pictures from the panel and saying, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I was like, I should be there. And while he was sending me pictures, they also had it so they were broadcasting the event, but the broadcast was like 3 minutes behind what I was getting pictures from Matt. So Matt was sending me these pictures, and I was receiving these pictures, and I remember getting this one thinking, wait, what is this? A Guardians of the Galaxy attraction at Epcot? And then I'm looking at the picture, and I'm trying to figure out like exactly where the picture's from. And I'm looking at the picture, I'm thinking, wait a minute, this looks like it's where Universe of Energy is. That doesn't make any sense at all. They're not closing Universe of Energy. And then all of a sudden on the broadcast, like literally like seconds later, they're like, and we're closing down Universe of Energy for a brand new Guardians of the Galaxy attraction. I'm like, yeah. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Here's my Universe of Energy hat right there. But today it's about Guardians. So today we're going so they announced that University of Energy was going to be closing down to make way for a brand new Guardians of the Galaxy attraction. This was August of 2017, literally 2 weeks before they would close down Ellen's Energy Adventure and also close down Mickey and Minnie's, or I'm sorry, Great Movie Ride for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. They both would close down on, what was it? I want to say August 13th. Yeah, August 13th, 2017. So August 13th, 2017, they closed down Ellen's Energy Adventure to make construction for Guardians of the Galaxy. Literally a week later, construction had started. So it looked like everything was going to be A-okay. We're going to be getting this brand new attraction. Life is going to be good. We're going to get a brand new Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, the first Marvel-themed attraction found ever at Walt Disney World. But then, of course, as everything else in the world, everything shut down in 2020, and with it, also the construction for Guardians of the Galaxy. So Guardians of the Galaxy originally was supposed to open up late last year. It was supposed to open actually October of 2021 in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort. And then they decided that they needed to have it done before the 40th anniversary of Epcot, which is October 1st of this year. So 4 months from today, actually. So the attraction was put on hold, but eventually it moved forward. And now the attraction is actually open here at Walt Disney World. Now, one of the things that we should talk about with Guardians of the Galaxy is Guardians of the Galaxy, first off, amazing film franchise if you've ever seen it. But Guardians of the Galaxy, the films, you'll notice a few things, and it drove me crazy until finally I talked to a cast member about it. I was like, this doesn't make sense. So the films and the attraction, you'll watch it and you'll be like, some stuff is not adding up. The timelines are not adding up exactly. And let me explain. So while you are going through the queue, this is kind of a spoiler. So if you want to mute me for the next, I'll go like this when we stop talking about this. So then you know that you can unmute me. But when you're going through the queue line, during the queue line, there's one part where a reporter is actually going through and interviewing the Guardians of the Galaxy. While she's interviewing the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're talking about how they went over to Xandar and saved the planet. They saved the universe. It was amazing. They saved the galaxy, and all was right in the world. While they are interviewing with this reporter, you'll notice that Groot is of large size. He is regular Groot. He is not baby Groot. He's not teenage Groot. He is Groot from the original Guardians of the Galaxy attraction. However, when they saved Xandar in the film, spoiler to the movie if you've never seen Guardians, but I would hope you've seen it by now, or maybe you just don't want to see it if you haven't seen it by now. In Guardians of the Galaxy, he breaks apart because we are Groots, and he turns into shambles, and then he's a twig, and then it becomes Baby Groot, and we all fall in love with Baby Groot. And you would think while on the attraction, for me, I'm watching and thinking, okay, this doesn't make sense because we have Big Groot here. They've saved Xandar, but in Avengers Infinity War, Xandar's destroyed. So that he can get the Power Stone. So Xandar's destroyed, and at that point, we still have Groot, but now he's Baby Groot. Or no, he's Teenage Groot. So how on earth is Big Groot? So I was so confused. It was blowing my mind. And so I had to talk to the cast member. And I had to ask a cast member, say, oh, I'm just curious here because the timeline doesn't make sense. And they said, okay, so this is how it works. And they broke character because right now their storyline is this is actually Xandar. These are residents of Xandar down. And I apologize because I went like that. But if you're unmuting me, I'm sorry. I talk with my hands, and I talked with my hands. But when they created this attraction, when they created Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, they wanted to have it so it was inspired by the MCU, but it was not part of the MCU canon. So this is actually not part of the official storyline of the MCU. This is actually just a brand new story inspired by the thing. So it doesn't actually fit in with the timeline, and that's why we have a Big Groot and not a Baby Groot. That was a long explanation. I don't even know how we got to that point. But when you're actually on the attraction, you're not in a timeline of the MCU. You're in a completely it's like the multiverse. You're like in a different section of Guardians, if that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about the queue line, or let's first look through and see if anyone's got any questions. Anyone have any questions out there yet? No one has any questions yet. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? The chat room's a little quiet tonight. We got people watching, but chat room, you guys are a little quieter. Are you guys learning? Hopefully you guys are learning. All right. By the way, the water I really like from Target, they ran out of the big size bottles. So I always drink a full bottle when I'm here on the show, and I had to bring 2 over today because they only had the small bottles left. It's my favorite water, though. Okay, anyways, let's talk a little bit about the queue line. We're going to talk about the history. We're going to talk about what it all means and why this attraction's here, why the attraction fits at Epcot. Because when they first announced this, I thought this attraction's not going to fit at Epcot. It doesn't make any sense to fit at Epcot. But they actually did a really good job of tying in the storyline of fitting in why it would actually go into Epcot itself. So the storyline here is the people of Xandar, a different planet that we can find in the MCU during Guardians of the Galaxy #1. The people of Xandar have created the very first intergalactic pavilion here at Epcot. And they are teaching us about how our universes are very, very similar to one another, and also bringing us on board their spaceship so we can learn a little bit more about life on Xandar. It's a beautiful idea. It's a great idea. So when you are in the queue line, so the first thing you do is you enter into the building, and they have Treasures of Xandar. While you walk into the main queue, actually, if you want to, we do have video. I brought my video here today. Let's see here. Ba-da-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum. No, that's not the one I want. No, that's not the one I want. That's not. Okay, here we go. Ooh. So this is on the ceiling. So when you walk into the attraction, or it's the queue line, and if you've seen my video from all right, so she kind of goes through and talks about how our galaxy and their galaxy are very similar to one another. They're both created at the same time with the Big Bang, and they are slowly getting closer to one another. And eventually, in 4 billion years, Earth and Xandar will be in the same galaxy. Isn't that a beautiful sentiment? And that's what they actually say. And it is a beautiful sentiment. So while you're going through it, they talk a lot about the history of Earth, which is cool because you're at the University of Energy, where they talked a lot about the history of Earth. They talked about dinosaurs and blah, 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 blah. So the idea of having it so this pavilion here connects us with that idea of how Earth was formed, how the planet was formed, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They actually cover all of that in the queue without being like, hey, we're teaching you about Earth science. It was, hey, we're teaching you about Xandar science. But isn't it cool that you guys have the same science as we do? Like, you have the same history of the Earth as we do. And they go through, and it's a very cool way to go about doing it, because in University of Energy, I love the University of Energy, but you're being told for 45 minutes by Bill Nye the Science Guy and Ellen DeGeneres and Alex Trebek about how the planet was formed and how the history of energy has gotten us to where we are today. This one, it's more entertaining in the fact that they're going through and saying, hey, this is how we were formed, and lo and behold, this is how you were formed too. Isn't that spoofy? So that video that I just showed you is on the ceiling when you first enter into the room. Now, to put into perspective how big the ceiling is, this is the actual building where you used to enter into for Ellen's Energy Adventure. So the first part of the queue line is actually that first room. So remember when you used to walk in and there was that wall there, and then right behind the wall was like the area where there's the screens, and then right behind that area was the location where you would actually go through and have it so you would board onto the ride vehicles and go around to the dinosaurs. This part of the queue is actually the first room with the video screens and a little bit of the showroom where you would board the ride vehicle. So that entire ceiling is a massive, massive projection. And on that massive projection is them showing you the creation of Xandar's universe while educating you about our universe as well. Any secrets to the virtual queue? Let's talk about that while we're here. Okay, has anyone ever done the virtual queues before? Show of hands, maybe. Not for this ride, obviously, but, well, maybe for this ride. All right, so let's go through here. So we got, hello, Brent. I go through here. Might actually still have, there we go, virtual queue. All right, so if we click join virtual queue, right now it's not going to have it because obviously they're not doing the virtual queue right now. When you get onto this page is actually the part where you actually confirm your party. So down on this part right here, it would have a thing saying, confirm your party. And it would have every person who is signed up to do a pass for Epcot that specific day. So let's say it's Christine, you, me, and Eric. We're all signed up to go to Epcot that day, and we're all going to go together. So it would have all three of us on there. However, if it was only two of us, like if it was just the two of you guys going, not me going, and I was going to go later in the day, but you guys want to go on the ride before I did, you could click my name off and then just have it so the two of your names are on there. So after you confirm, on the bottom part here, there's a little button that would say refresh. and you'll hit refresh. And then up here, there's a little, nope, over here, there's a little blue button that says edit. And the edit is for editing your party. What you want to do when you're refreshing, because I've made this rookie mistake before. When you're refreshing, you don't want to do this. You don't want to just keep on tapping, because it's not allowing it to refresh. When you hit that, it's just essentially you're still refreshing from that very first time. What you want to do is you want to hit refresh, and then this edit button over here is going to turn a different shade of blue. As soon as it gets back to the dark blue that it started with, then you hit refresh again. And then just wait. And it takes like half a second, maybe a second. So you just keep on going through, refresh, okay, refresh, refresh. If you're doing this at 7 a.m., you can do it in the leisurely hours of your own home. Not the leisurely hours, but you can do it from your own home, and you can just sit there and hang out, wake up early like I did the other day and still not get it. To answer Matt's question here, how long does it take to sell out? On Friday, it sold out in 1.5 seconds, and then for the first time, and then the second time later in the day at 1 o'clock, it sold out in 2.3 seconds. So it sells out very, very quickly. Ugh. My nose is running right now. So yeah, it literally goes like that. So if you do it at 7 a.m., you can do it from anywhere. I highly recommend going to a place that has, like, if you have really good internet, use your internet. But if you have slower internet, but you have good mobile data, switch to your mobile data. Because it is totally, that split second will be the second that decides whether or not you can get in. So use the mobile data or whatnot. Now, if you're in the park at 1 o'clock trying to sign up for it, and eventually what they're going to do is I think it's starting this week, people who are staying at deluxe resorts can stay at the park later at night. So when they start doing that, there's also going to be a 6 p.m. sign up exclusively for those guests. So there's some people who are saying out there, oh, well, you can do it for 6 o'clock any day. That's true, but you have to be staying at a deluxe resort. So if you're not staying at a deluxe resort, you have to do the 7 o'clock or the 1 o'clock one. We're going to get to, there's a lot of questions coming up. So I'm going to give 1 second here, and then we're going to go through those questions here. So if you're at the park itself, my recommendation, this is what I've done to get in. Every time I've done it to get in at the park, which is twice. I'm 2-1 right now for getting in the park. Both times I've gotten in, I went over by where you can see Winnie the Pooh, over by the Imagination Pavilion. I turned off Wi-Fi. I had it so it was directly mobile data, because there is a cell phone tower pretty close to that area, and it's also an area where there's not a lot of people hanging out at. So chances are you're not going to have a lot of mobile interference. You're going to be close to the tower, so you'll probably be getting better coverage than people who are even 20, 30 yards away from you. So that's where I've been the last 2 times, and I got in both times. The one time I just couldn't use it because I had to go to work. The first time, however, I was over by Guardians, and the only reason I was by Guardians was because it was the opening day, and it was merchandise was going live, and I want to get my merchandise and check it out. So there's the hat. This is the other merchandise I got. I also got the Magic Band. It fell out. So the Magic Band we got our Mickey there underneath the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. One side we got Groot and Rocket, and then on the other side, Press Rewind 2022. All right, so that is my recommendation for how to get into the queue when you're actually at the park. How long do you think there will be a virtual queue for? My guess is probably through the summer. I'm thinking through the summer, and I think then maybe in September, when Eric, you're actually going to be here, I think that's when they're going to say, okay, we're going to get rid of it and see how it is without it. Rise of the Resistance went like a year and a half with the virtual queue. I prefer the virtual queues, by the way. A lot of people have been writing to me over the last week talking about how much they hate the virtual queues, and they felt so bad for me on opening day. They're like, "Oh, I can't believe you didn't get in. It's that stupid virtual queue." I would rather not get in every day and have that virtual queue than have it so the virtual queue doesn't exist, because chances are I'm not going to be waiting in the line if I don't have the virtual queue. Because without the I'm trying to get comfortable. Without the virtual queue, the line's ridiculous. So at least with the virtual queue, I have a guaranteed spot in that I can come back to later on. So I prefer the virtual queue. I know some people hate the virtual queue, but I personally think the virtual queue is a great. Like, I wish they would go to virtual queue for most attractions. Let's go to the next question here. Is there a better chance paying for an individual lightning lane? I have. Friday and Saturday when I couldn't get in the first time. Okay, well, scratch that. Friday, I didn't get in, and then I tried to get into the lightning lane, and I couldn't get the lightning lane. Like, it was too late. So I think you have to make a choice right when it's 7:00. Like, okay, which one am I going for? Am I going to go for the lightning lane? Am I going to go for the virtual queue? And personally, for me, I would rather go for the virtual queue because I would rather not pay for the line. Plus, if you do the virtual queue line, I got a chance to do it during one of the previews I went to. The virtual queue line, you pass all the really cool stuff in the queue. And the queue itself is unbelievable. Like, there's so many cool details in that queue that I think it's worth going through the queue. And the queue goes extremely quickly. As soon as you're in that building, it's like 30 minutes tops. So my nose is going like crazy right now. Holy cow. I don't know why. But I think the virtual queue is, I think the standby line is a great line. Like, there's so many details. The virtual queue, you get to see the first room, but you only see it for maybe 5 minutes, if that, if there's a line. Like, if you're just walking through, maybe a minute, unless you stopped and stared at it. And then all the other really cool things, you can see some of the interviews, but you can only see the interviews on like little screens. And it's not as cool of a setup. So I tried to get into the virtual queue Friday after I didn't get into the standby or the virtual. I tried to get into the lightning lane after I couldn't get into the virtual queue. Right. Yeah. I couldn't get into the lightning lane. It sold out all the way right away. So the next day I overslept through my alarm. I woke up at 7:04 and I went for the virtual queue. It was sold out. So then I went for lightning lane. That was sold out too. So I think no matter what, lightning lane and virtual queue are both going to sell out immediately. If you want to try to go for the standby or for the lightning lane, if you feel comfortable paying for it, go for it. And then even if you don't get that, at least you have the 1:00 chance to get in as well. So just like Rise when it first opened. Yeah, just like Rise when it first opened. Yep. Where it just kind of immediately forever. I love the virtual queue. I cannot stress this enough. People always think I'm joking when I talk about the virtual queue. I love the virtual queue. I used to go on Rise of the Resistance like 2 times a week. I've been on it twice since October 1st. And it's one of my favorite rides, but it's always such a long line that, it's such a hassle. Like, I absolutely love the virtual queues because for local people like myself, it's like giving you a guaranteed spot to get into a ride, which is a lot nicer than not having a guaranteed spot. So yeah, I would love it if we always had virtual queues. Like, not for every ride, but have it so like maybe like 1 or 2 rides every single day at each park. You know, like if you're doing studios, it can be Rise of the Resistance and Slinky Dog Dash or Mickey Minnie's Run the World Railway. And then you could do Remy's and this. And then Magic Kingdom, you could do People Mover and People Mover. You just give people what they want. And then Animal Kingdom, you could do like Flight of Passage and the Safari or something. You know, like I think the virtual queue is such a great asset to use, especially if you're a local like myself. It's such a great thing to use if you're a local. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the queue line, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the pre-show, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the ride as we go through here. If you have any questions, feel free to throw questions. While we go through this stuff, there are probably going to be some spoilers. So I will try my best to not give away too many spoilers. But at the same time, I apologize if I do. But if you really want to avoid all spoilers, you know, signing off now is not the worst thing in the world. I will forgive you. Maybe. So while you're going through the queue line, like I talked about, you kind of go through and tells you about Xandar, and they kind of talk about how each world goes through and how their world is connected to our world. And while you go through the first room, it's got that giant projection on the screen. Then the next room is the different parts of Xandar. So they kind of go through and they show like a city landscape. Fun fact, there's a hidden Mickey that's found in the hidden landscape. A cast member told me about it. I posted it on my Instagram story today. I could either say that or I could actually show you. And while I was walking through, I was like, oh, it's someplace around here, but I can't find it because at that point in the line, like you're always moving so quickly that it's almost impossible to see. But here, no, that's not what I wanted. Oh, no. I went to my main page. Now I have to go all the way back and find it. Okay. There we go. Hidden Mickey. And this is part of the line, too. This is the interview section. Couldn't have done it without Quill. Okay, so when you're going through the line, they show you like the cityscapes, they show you some of their ships, they show you the different levels of commands, and then you also get to meet a few of the different characters that are involved in this attraction. Now, there's only one character that was created specifically for this attraction that actually has like a main role. I just got rid of my notes. That person is played by none other than what's his name? All of a sudden I'm drawing a blank. The guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Terry Crews, right? Terry Crews? I think that's his name. I'm almost positive that's his name. Terry Crews. Anyways, I think it's Terry Crews. Yeah, Terry Crews. Ha! Got it a while ago. But Terry Crews plays a brand new person whose name is, I forget his name, Tal Marik. And he is one of the people who is part of the Xandarians. And he goes through and kind of talks to you about Xandar while you're going through the queue. He only pops up once or twice on these small little screens. Now, the screens are literally like this, like it's a curve, and they have it so there's projections of the people's face on there. It's overall a pretty cool technology because it looks like it's something from out of this world, and that's kind of what they're going for. So when you're going through, you see that, and then you go into the next area, and in the next area is the interview room, and that's where you have it so there's an interviewer, and she's talking about how Peter Quill, along with the Guardians of the Galaxies, came down and they saved Xandar. So what they mainly talk about is, my nose is going crazy right now. The rest of me feels fine. I don't understand. I smelled flowers and then I just faucet. So when you're going through that part, they're going through and they're reenacting or they're retelling the entire story about the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So again, if you've never seen that, yeah. While they're actually talking about that, they're also talking about how they're opening up the brand new exhibit for you guessed it, the Treasures of Xandar coming to Epcot. Now, this is where they have a tribute to old Epcot, and I love it. I've seen videos of it, and today was the first time I actually saw it. But they say, "Oh, are you excited about the Treasures of Xandar making their way to Epcot?" And Peter Quill goes, "Oh, yeah, it was really cool. Like I went to Epcot as a kid." He's like, "Oh, I can't wait to go over there and ride Horizons again and go to the Universe of Energy and see all those dinosaurs. And I love veggie fruit." And it was so funny because all the videos I've seen from it were like from preview days where it's like diehard Disney fans and everyone's like, "Ha ha ha!" I can hear people laughing in the background. Today, silence. I was the only person who laughed. There was no one else who seemed to understand what was going on. People are going, "Wait, where are these rides at? Like, what are they talking about?" I'm like, "No, how do you not know? How do you not know?" maybe you should watch the Wednesday show and then you will know. But yeah, so they have different references to Epcot. It's mainly those three references. But while they're going through, they're talking to Drax, they're talking to Rocket, they're talking to Gamora, Peter Quill, and Groot. Groot just answers as I am Groot. He's only on there for, I've only seen him once in the entire, I'm guessing it's probably like a 5-minute segment, maybe 10-minute segment. I've only seen him once. Every time you're going through that line, it is also going through extremely quickly. So it's really tough to kind of like catch different parts of the interview. I've seen a few parts twice, and I've seen a few parts none times because you're just walking through it so quickly. But the basic outline of it is they are talking to Peter Quill, and he is talking about how he saved the galaxy in a dance-off, and then he's talking about how he is the captain. They said, oh no, Groot told us that he was the captain. So just the same dynamic of the Guardians of the Galaxy as usual. After you go through that room, you are actually already in the pre-show. The from start to finish, after you enter the building until the pre-show, it only takes about 25 to 30 minutes. It goes extremely quickly. And I was even thinking today, if they stop the virtual queue, I don't know where they're going to put all these people. Like if they had just like a regular line, that would go for hours and hours and hours. The line would be outside for a good chunk of it because the line inside is long, but it's not, it moves so fast that I don't know. Anyways, so you get into the pre-show, and in the pre-show you have Nova Prime, who is played by Glenn Close. Glenn Close actually played the same character in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. So Glenn Close is there, and she is explaining about how humans are morons, or Terrans they call us. Terrans are morons, not essentially morons, but she's saying you guys don't have the same technology as us, and because of that, we can't take you to Xandar. However, we can have it so Xandar comes to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to use jump points. This nose is, it's climbing this side, not on this side. Ugh. I get water. I apologize. I'm like sniffling all over the place. I wasn't this bad at the start of the show. You guys are like slowly watching a man go insane. Let me get a Kleenex. I apologize. I never leave the show. We're leaving the show for a second here so I can blow my nose. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so anyways, you get into the pre-show, and she kind of talks about how they're going to bring Xandar to you. She's like, oh, here's one of our members of the Xandar people. He's going to walk you through it. So he explains to you, it's Terry Crews. He explains to you about how they have the jump points. If you remember Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, they went through all the different jump points, and Rocket and Groot were like, it was hilarious. And then Groot throws up at the end. It's the same thing. So they're going to have it so you're going to go through these different they're going to go through different jump points and bring themselves to you. So they're going to transport you up with the jump point and bring you up to the ship that's actually hovering above planet Earth right now. So one of the most impressive parts of the entire building, you go into the next section of the pre-show room. It is just a room with walls, and then there's the thing above you that's going to transport you. And it starts to flash. I'm also surprised that they don't have like a seizure warning because there's a lot of flashing lights. In case anyone out there has any problems with seizures, or if you know someone who's going to go on the ride who has seizures, that part might cause seizures. But you go in the room, it flashes, and then all of a sudden you're in a completely different room. You're actually up on the spaceship, tip. And you're up on the spaceship, and Terry Crews and Nova Prime are like, you made it, yay! And they start talking about how they have this power source, and the power source is almighty, and then all of a sudden the lights flicker down, and the power source is gone. And they're like, oh my gosh, we have to call the Guardians. And Terry Crews is like, yes, the Guardians. Which I think is hilarious. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy show up on the screen, and they're like, hey, man, what's going on? Dig dogs? That's not what they say, but essentially. And they go through, and they pretty much say, oh, man, why didn't we think about stealing that power source? And then they find out that one of these eternal people, or the celestial gods, has stolen it, and he is actually using that power source to get rid of the entire universe and have it so everything goes back to before the Big Bang. And they're like, oh my gosh, he made a jump point. So he uses the jump point to have it so the whole world starts going back into that jump point. And then the Guardians say, we can't get there yet. However, you should put those people that are in that room into escape pods, and they can go in there and they can start following him with you. Or not with them, because our ship is down. So we're just going to the escape pods, and we're going to go travel out into outer space. And that brings us to the ride itself. So you get into the ride vehicles, and the ride vehicles extremely comfortable. You get into the ride vehicles, which are your escape pods, and you start launching, and the Guardians are now with you, and you are all being launched into space, and you get to before the start of time, where you have this celestial god along with the Guardians, and the Guardians shoot the thing out of his hand, and they go, oh my gosh, what did we just do? And it ends up you open up time portal, and you are now traveling all the way back to before the Milky Way even started. And then they go, I think we went back all the way. And then you launch backwards, which is really cool. You launch backwards, and then you have one of the 6 songs actually comes on. The 6 songs are, like I said earlier, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, One Way or Another, I ran so far away, Conga, Disco Inferno, or Everybody Wants to Rule the... So you have one of those 6 songs. Depending on the song that you have, some of the dialogue is slightly different, but it's not impactful for the entire story. It's kind of cool because you get different lines depending on what song you actually have. So you go back in time and you start trying to find this guy, and you start trying to find the thing and have it so that Nova Corps, along with you, are trying to stop this guy from actually making it so time doesn't exist. He wants to have it so people are never created, and he thinks people are terrible. So it's your job to stop him and get everything back, right? As you go through, you are traveling through time. So you actually go past the Big Bang, you go past the Milky Way, you eventually go past the moon, and then you eventually make your way back to Epcot, or as they call it, Epcode. And they go, it's not Epcode, it's Epcot. And then this is one of those things that depends on which time you actually go by. Sometimes they go, it stands for every person comes out tired. And sometimes they go, who comes up with these names? Like, that's a stupid name. So it really depends on which song you actually have. I think Disco Inferno, or no, September is Epcot. It's Every Person Comes Out Tired. I think that's the only time that I've ever heard it was on September. I could be wrong. It could be a different song, but I've only heard it once or twice, and I think it was the same song both times. And then at the end, because you help the Guardians, they give you the honor of now being an honorary Guardian of the Galaxy, and that is when the ride ends. So let's go to your questions. Does anyone out there have any questions? We only have about 5 to 10 minutes left here to answer questions. So throw your questions in the comments below, and we're going to answer anything and everything as we go through here. While you guys send questions in, I will say I did talk about the launch going backwards. Your ride vehicle does move, and it moves towards the projections that are on this thing. So you're looking at projections the whole time, or not the whole time, but it's a roller coaster. And while you're going through, there's different projections. So sometimes they'll have you facing forward. Sometimes it has you facing backwards. Sometimes it has you facing the side. And there's times where you don't even like, I remember at one point on my first time, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going forward or backwards right now. Like, I'm so confused. So yeah, is Chris Pratt in it? Yes. Chris Pratt, along with all the other actors who were in the original Guardians of the Galaxy, all of them have reprised the roles for this attraction. So you have the 5 main Guardians are all in it, along with Glenn Close has reprised her role as Nova Prime, and then Terry Crews is the 7th person. So lots of all the original actors are all part of this thing, which I think is really cool. And Glenn Close, I think she won an Oscar, didn't she? So we have an Oscar winner. I think Glenn Close did. Did she? Now I'm going to look up Glenn Close. Any other questions out there while we go through here? Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up a few minutes early if you guys don't have any questions. Let's see here. Glenn Close. Is Glenn Close or is Glenn far? Oh, She has been nominated for 8 Academy Awards, holding the record for most nominations in an acting category without a win. So she's never won. That's I like Glenn Close too. Any other questions out there before we wrap up tonight's show? Maybe, maybe not. I'm trying to think of any other questions people might ask. Yeah, when it comes to Matt just answered for everyone. Nope, no one has questions. When it comes to motion sickness, I've never gotten motion sickness, so I'm the wrong person to ask. People are asking me constantly over the last month whether or not I get motion sickness on it. I've never been motion sickness on a ride, so for me, it's like, oh, it's a fun ride. But I can see other people be like, oh my God, it's awful. It's absolutely terrible. There we go. Is the ride pick on the backward launch? Yes, it is. Let me see. I didn't even look at my picture today. I got the alert earlier saying you have a new photo pass, but I never even looked to see what my picture looked like. Oh, it didn't pick it up. What? Oh, I guess I didn't have a new photo pass. It said I did, but it lied. You should ride the teacups with Pratt. Yeah, that will make people motion sickness. Is the spinning like the teacups? No, it's all controlled. So it's like it'd be like Haunted Mansion, where it's pointing you where they want you to point, or where they want you to see and focus your attention on. I also had someone ask me not that long ago if this is the same type of spinning as Crush's Coaster. No, Crush's Coaster in Paris was not what I expected it to be. It was like Primeval Whirl that used to be at Animal Kingdom, but in the dark, where it just keeps on going. So would you say this is the most... Ooh, that's a great question. I would say no. I would say this is number 2 after Rise of the Resistance. I think Rise of the Resistance is the most unique. I was talking to someone about that the other day. One of my friends was going on... I lost my thing there. One of my friends was about to go on for their preview last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now. And they said, oh, there's no way this could be Rise of the Resistance. And I said, from a ride, I think it might be more entertaining than Rise of the Resistance, but from an experience, I don't think it's as exciting as Rise of the Resistance. I think Rise of the Resistance, from start to finish, from when you get into that pre-show room all the way through, it's such a cool experience. I don't think you can never top that. But I think as just a ride, like when you're just looking at the ride portion, from a thrill factor, I think it's one of the most thrilling. It's probably the most thrilling ride on Disney property. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. I personally love it. I want to spend more time in the queue. I want to have it so I want to go through the queue with a friend so they can hold up the line behind me as I get video footage and pictures of everything. I tried to do that a little bit today, and the people behind me were getting kind of irritated. So I didn't get as much footage as I wanted to today. I got some footage, but not enough. Not enough. There's never enough time. So I think the queue is just, there's so much detail in that queue that I'm missing, and I just want to see more and more of the queue. Like, I just want to sit there in the queue and just take it all in. And I also want to have it so I go to the exit and literally spend hours there recording, maybe not like recording audio, but writing down on my phone, like be like, okay, this is the next song, this is the next song, this is the next song, and literally go through and have it so every song that is at the exit of the attraction, I have documented, because like I said, there's like 4 hours worth. So I really, it's such a cool ride. It's such a cool experience. Like it's a really cool experience. I think it like Rise of the Resistance, I think it does help to be a Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I think people who don't know Guardians of the Galaxy are still going to enjoy it. For instance, when I was in the queue today, the part when they were doing the interviews, Chris Pratt also pops up on the screen. And this girl who is like 2 or 3 people ahead of me, she's like, that's the guy from the Jurassic Park movies. Like, how did they get him? Saying he's in Guardians. Like, he was in that before he was in. Kids these days, let me tell you. And so I don't even know where I was going with this. Oh, because she didn't know Guardians of the Galaxy. I think if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, it makes more sense. It wraps up everything a little bit more. It makes things a little bit more enjoyable. But at the same time, I think the ride itself is such a cool, enjoyable experience that you don't need to know the movies that well. You just kind of need to know the plot line, which I think is true for most Disney attractions. You don't really need to know the storyline of the movie to enjoy the storyline of the attraction. I feel like it's the same thing for this one. Okay, I think it looks like that's going to be all of our questions here. So, as always, I'd like to remind you guys that tonight's show is sponsored by It's All About the Mouse Travel. Make sure you stop by it'sallaboutthemousetravel.com for all of your Disney travel needs. All of their services are absolutely, positively, 100% free. So make sure you book with them for your next Disney vacation. I'd like to thank everyone out there for joining us once again this week. Please keep on spreading the word about the Wednesday show and From Screen to Theme, and invite anyone and everyone to join the group right here on Facebook or over on YouTube as well. If you have not ordered your copy of A Closer Look At or A Closer Look At or A Closer Look At, make sure you go order your books by clicking the Shop Now button found at the top of either page. Or actually, I think it's in the description of the pages here as well. And of course, like I said earlier in the thing, we are getting closer and closer to our 500,000 views over on YouTube. So if you want to tonight, if you want to put on one of my playlists, I'm not going to be upset with you at all. Actually, I encourage it. If you guys have it, so we have 10 people watching our playlist of Disney details every single day. If we have 10 people doing that, we're getting 1,000 video views immediately, no questions asked. If we have it, so 20 of you are doing it, it's 2,000. Or if we have even 500 of you, maybe all 10 of you guys in the chat room will find 50 people each to do this. But we will go through, and we'll also have it so we can hit our 500,000 views really, really soon. We never even checked the things today. Let's check the things. I know what we were at right before we started. We were at 1,000. Wait, I'll know when I see it. 1,549, I think. Yeah, 1,549. We're still at 1,549. I knew it was 49. I couldn't remember if it was 1.5 or 1.4 that we're at. So we're still at that. Let's see how many views we're at all together here. Oh, yes. Yesterday was our lowest view day in a year. What happened yesterday? I saw my video didn't do very well yesterday, but it looks like none of my YouTube did very well yesterday. So we are currently 55,545 views away from 500,000. So spread the word, share it with a friend. Oh, hi, Tom. Everyone say hi, Tom. Spread the word. As always, remember that anything can happen if you let it. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Are they gone? Are they gone? Oh, good. My cheeks are just killing me. I just can't stand this kind